I call the member for Corangamite.
Thank you very much, Mr Deputy Speaker. Mr Deputy Speaker, I'm not really even going to try and bother to deal with the nonsensical contribution of the member for Lindsay. She talked about us trying to crash the industrial relations system in this country, and yet, as the Leader of the Opposition has made clear, that is his absolute intention. What's quite confusing about this MPI, the government prioritising big business over ordinary Australians, and I don't think the members opposite realise this, is that big business employs half of all ordinary Australians. Big business employs millions of Australians. And in deserting big business, in saying to businesses across Australia, whether they be small, medium, family or large, as the Leader of the Opposition has said, we are going to create a war on business. Business is going to get nothing from us. In saying that, Labor is sending a very strong message. It's sending a message to the workers in the steel manufacturing companies, in the mines, in Bunnings and Qantas, that you don't matter. You don't matter, because that is the bottom line with this opposition, is that half of all Australians work for large Australian companies, and 90% of workers in this country work for private companies. This opposition, Mr Deputy Speaker, is so dangerous in its left loony policies that it is willing and advocating to drive up the minimum wage by 30%, which it even knows will destroy thousands of jobs across this country. And frankly, it is an embarrassment. I mean, the member for Rankin sitting there after promising and writing all of the member for Lily's speech notes, promising for surpluses that never actually occurred in this country, and he's sniggering and he's sniggering. And we have committed, as confirmed by the Parliamentary Budget Office, that we will be in surplus by 2021, and we are on track to deliver that. And we are actually going to have our company tax cuts paid as part of our budget forecasts. So, frankly, the member for Rankin sitting there sniggering really just shows the embarrassment of what his contribution has been when the Labor-Rudd government was in power. But I do feel for the Shadow Treasurer, the member for McMahon, who's been completely rolled by the left of the Labor Party, by the Jeremy Burney loony left economics of Labor, the great economic messiah of the Labor Party who talked about company tax cuts, who talked about the importance of what that would do for jobs and investment and growth and business confidence. That was backed by the Leader of the Opposition, and he's now been rolled by the member for Sydney. The loony left of the Labor Party is coming out in force, and the member for McMahon is slinking around the boardrooms of Australia saying, "Don't worry, fellas, we'll deliver those company tax cuts, just stay quiet." I know and you know that we need these company tax cuts for Australia, but we just have to run our agenda to get into power, and then everything will change. It's an absolute hypocrisy, and as the member for Reader said in this debate, it's quite clear that the Shadow Treasurer here in the House does not believe a word that he's spoken. Mr Deputy Speaker, we need company tax cuts to make us internationally competitive, and I put on the record that Treasury modelling has shown that this will add $30 billion in additional revenue and increase our GDP by 1%. And as the Governor of the Reserve Bank has said in the public hearing before the House Economics Committee that I proudly chair, he said the worst thing that we can possibly do is rack up more debt and deficit, and that's what the Labor Party's agenda is. More debt and more deficit. They went to the last election with $16 billion more deficit to contribute to the economy. And as the Governor of the Reserve Bank also said, the best way to combat inequality is to deliver jobs. And, Mr Deputy Speaker, we are delivering jobs in spades. 403,000 more jobs in the last year, the best record jobs growth on record, 1,100 jobs a day, and already we are seeing in some sectors of the economy a tightening of the labour market, which the Governor of the Reserve Bank has identified quite clearly and objectively. So in contrast to the loony left policies of Labor we are delivering for jobs and for this economy.